What's up guys, I'm Olivia.
And I'm Kyle.
And we're Drivin and Vibin.
Today we're talking about job ideas for full-time RVers. This is part of an ongoing series, and today we have two exciting jobs, so stay tuned.
Welcome back to our channel, everyone. Thank you guys so much for joining us today, and we're super excited to get to catch up with Andy and Leslie today, and they have some pretty interesting jobs to tell us about. Before we hop into that, I want to let everyone know, if you're watching within a few days of when this is published, Flex Jobs has 50% off their membership. We'll link that below. Flex Jobs is great for finding remote work. Also, Camille Attell's Remote Work 101 course, we'll link that below too. Yes, and we are affiliates of both of these programs because we believe in them so much and because they are such useful resources, and we think it could be awesome for you guys to check out. So let's go ahead and talk to Andy and Leslie.
We're Andy and Leslie of Unknown Normal, and we've been traveling full-time in our fifth wheel travel trailer for about a year. How do you make money from the road? Well, our main source of income is a resume writing business called ResumeLezlie.com. That's me, Resume Leslie. I provide resume writing services and cover letters, as well as interview coaching and LinkedIn profiles.
I work with Leslie part-time in the resume business, and I also search for side jobs for us through sources like Craigslist. My favorite of which was selling fireworks in Florida, which we earned about $4,000 doing.
Did you have the job before RV life, or did you find it while on the road? I actually did have this job before RV life. It was what allowed us to decide to hit the road full time. I had a background in music education and was in college for that when I kind of discovered that that wasn't really the right path for me. But with some encouragement from Andy, I was able to branch out on my own and start the resume writing business. I had that going for about 3 years before we hit the road, so I had a little bit of ground under my feet, a little bit of experience before we actually hit the road full time. I was able to cultivate that business a little bit better.
Before RV life, I was a high school band director and music teacher, and when we decided to travel full time, I left teaching and joined the resume business. And when we realized that my part in the business was about part-time, I decided to use the skills that I had for searching for side jobs to look for extra income, and that's where we found the job selling fireworks.
How many hours a week do you work? Since it's our own business, I feel like we work a lot. Between the actual client work, communication and correspondence with clients, scheduling client meetings, and the fact that I actually built the website and I run and maintain that myself. Thankfully, I don't have to do the social media anymore. Andy handles that for me, which I'm really grateful for. But between all the parts that I do handle, I really feel like it takes up a lot of time. We don't really track the hours, but we work most days, including weekends, although that's definitely not a strict rule. Everything is pretty flexible for us. While I try to be available during the week, we try to be also flexible and understand that life on the road is about trying to enjoy that. So we take time whenever we can to explore the areas we're in, do some sightseeing, really try and take some time away from work as much as possible, even though we do work a lot. I feel like we try and find a good balance.
And the side jobs are pretty difficult to track since they're all really different. But with the fireworks job, I would say we spend about 80 hours total with getting ready and then setting up and then actually selling and breaking down and finishing up all the financials with it over the course of a couple of weeks. So 80 hours with that gig in particular.
Is internet connection important for your job? And if so, how do you keep a solid internet connection? Internet is definitely critical for the resume business. It is a client services based business, so like I said, I try to be available at least throughout the week, Monday through Friday, to answer client calls, emails, stay in connection with folks, things like that. Even just working on resumes, the physical act of working on it, you know, I do that in Word, so I don't technically have to be online, but with all the research that I do, every resume is different. I have to do research with everyone, so I really need internet connectivity just to do that kind of thing. We have a Verizon unlimited data plan which has been really, really good for us. Verizon, for the most part, has had service everywhere we've tried to go. And then we run hotspots from our phone. So I have a hotspot for mine, and Andy has one from his. So we try and just...
Yeah, internet connection is how I also find a lot of side jobs. So it's pretty much a top priority for us when we're searching for campsites. When we first hit the road, we mostly stayed at campgrounds, which, you know, have good cell service for the most part. But we've been doing a lot of boondocking and off-grid camping lately, and internet connections are a little bit more challenging to find with those.
This guy's living in the middle of nowhere.
I'm in the middle of nowhere!
Occasionally, campgrounds will have good Wi-Fi, but a lot of times they don't either. So we don't have a cell booster or a Wi-Fi extender, but honestly, we really haven't had too much trouble finding places with good Verizon signal pretty much everywhere we've gone. So there's only been a couple of places that we've had to really give up and go somewhere else because the cell service wasn't good enough.
What is the biggest challenge with working from the road? For me, it's probably the stress of the travel days and the general sort of unpredictability of RV life. Making sure we have cell coverage, like we just talked about, is a huge priority. So I feel like in the beginning, especially, we kind of struggled with that. We didn't understand that there were just places that we were going to come across that did not have coverage. Even campgrounds, like Andy said, we started out staying mostly in campgrounds, and even some of those were not in an area with good Verizon coverage or Sprint or any others, because we did our research, like, should we switch? No, Verizon has really good coverage, but even some places did not have coverage, and even those places said, oh, we have Wi-Fi, but a lot of times that Wi-Fi wasn't very good. So in the beginning, I feel like we had a few times where it was just like, oh crap, like, what do we do? And we've gotten really good. Andy has gotten really good about finding us places that do have good coverage. We've gotten a little bit better at understanding the coverage app and different things like that. So making sure that we have cell coverage is one of the most challenging parts, I feel like.
The biggest challenge for me is really finding steady income with the side jobs. The resume business has pretty semi-steady income flow, and we're getting better at growing, and we're building that business, but the side jobs are kind of few and far between. Some of them, like the fireworks, we made $4,000 from. Others you make a couple $100 from, but they're not as regular as the income from the resume business.
Do you have a dedicated workspace inside your RV? We don't. We work mainly from the dining table, which is actually where we're sitting right now. We don't usually work side by side together. We usually work across from each other, but this is typically the space that we inhabit. Sometimes we work in other spaces, but this is usually where we get most of our work done. I feel like a dedicated workspace is probably something for me that would be sort of a wish list item. I feel like if we had the ideal space, a workspace that's dedicated just for work, separate from entertainment or relaxing space, would probably be something that I would really, really like.
Sometimes we work from our Lazy Boy recliners, and then sometimes we work from bed.
Which is fun. I like having, lazy day work days over the weekend. That's nice to have that option. Being self-employed definitely has its perks. What piece of RV gear is essential for you to complete your job more efficiently? Like we said, we spend a lot of time boondocking, off-grid, not connected to any sort of particular power source. So anything that provides power is probably a favorite of ours. We have a 100 amp hour battery and a 600 watt inverter, which allows us to use the battery power to charge our laptop and other work equipment, cell phones, things like that. We have 2 portable solar panels that charge the battery. They are Eco Power brand solar panels. They provide 240 watts of power and they only weigh 8 pounds each, which is really important for us because we try as much as possible to be very conscious about the weight that we add to anything that we do. So having really lightweight portable solar panels that do the trick is fantastic. I really love having the solar panels.
When we don't have abundant sunshine, we do have a portable propane generator that we can use to even power the air conditioner if we want. So that kind of covers emergency power and luxury power, I guess, when we're not plugged into, say, a campground. But the generator also came in handy when we were doing the fireworks job. We needed it to run the lights in the tent when we were selling fireworks at night. So the generator also worked for that.
What is one tip you'd give to someone who wants to work from the road? Research as much as you can think of about RVing itself. There's really so much to know, so much to learn, more than I would have ever imagined before we started. There's so much to know about that. And then also, if you're starting, especially if you're starting a new business or wanting to start a new business to allow you to go on the road, not only is full-time RVing sort of stressful in and of itself, you're trying to learn the ins and outs, but if you're also trying to learn the ins and outs of a new business, that's something that's going to add even more stress. So just be able to research as much as possible beforehand so that you can prepare yourself and try and feel as confident as possible and have as little stress as you can. A little stress is always going to happen, but try and minimize that as much as possible before you hit the road by doing as much research as you can.
My tip would be that there are a lot of resources out there for help, like Facebook groups and blogs and apps. So just like Lezlie said, research as much as possible and don't be afraid to ask for help, because a lot of people in this community really seem to be forthcoming with helpful information and don't seem to be afraid of sharing that kind of information to help you be successful. So definitely don't be afraid to ask.
That was really helpful, you guys. Thank you.
You can get this information on your website, right?
That would be resumelezlie.com for the resume business, and also Resume Lezlie on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and Twitter.
For our travel blog, websites, and more stuff that we post, RV kitchen cooking things and campsite reviews and all that kind of stuff, you can find that at unknownnormal.com. And then we are also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest as Unknown Normal.
Thank you so much to Kyle and Olivia at Drivin and Vibin for giving us this opportunity. We hope that this information has helped you guys, and feel free to contact us if you have any questions.
Thank you guys so much for sharing all of that information with us. That was definitely super informative and interesting. I've never known anyone who has worked at a fireworks stand, other than myself actually. I've actually worked at a fireworks stand seasonally before. So
but they also made $4,000 with that for just one pop, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that is super, super cool. So, I mean, as always, there are limitless ways to make money on the road. We're starting to get rained on right now, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. But we hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel.
Later on.
Thanks for watching.